Hi all. I wanted to spend some time making some more videos, and I thought I might make the first ones about AI. AI has been in the news a lot recently, and it's gotten to the point where I use it almost every day. And I don't just mean asking "she who must not be named" to set a timer, although between that and a really good thermometer, it's really upped my cooking game. But I digress. I mean that I use it to write code, with GitHub's Copilot, but also using GPT-4 directly. And I use it to write email and social media posts and out-of-office responders. And I use it to troubleshoot issues and find solutions to things. I use it to proofread stuff, and the list goes on. I've also been doing research about how to best use GPT for our business, and also for GIS in general. And I'm really excited to share some of the things that we've been working on. But let's start at the beginning. This is the first of several videos that I plan on making to talk about AI. We'll talk about things like real-world use of AI alignment and safety, and how does this crazy thing even work? What do you mean it predicts the next word? All that and more to come, but I want to start with a real-world example that can make everyone's life a little bit easier. Let's imagine that we work for a city, say the city of Dimaptic. And as part of that city, we have drains and streets and various things that we have to keep clean. And like lots of good cities, we have ways for our citizens to adopt those things and keep them and their environs safe and clean. And of course, when you adopt something, you have to let people name it. And as you're probably aware, people get really creative when you ask them to name things. Looking at adopt-a-drain programs, we've seen things like Drainy McDrainface and Drain, Drain, Go Away. I didn't make those up. And neither did GPT, although I think it would have something to say on the matter. But for all that creativity, sometimes you get names that are just not great. Things like oh, right, I guess I shouldn't read those out loud. Suffice it to say that no one wants to read them. So how can we solve this? We could use regular expressions, or we could use one of the multitude of libraries that are out there that people have written to try to protect systems from bad words. But it's hard, and people are creative. So let's try pitting them against GPT and see how everyone stacks up. So let's start with a quick tour of the way the playground works. So for us, we want to use GPT-4. So we're gonna switch to chat mode, and then we're gonna switch our model to GPT-4. So over here on the left, we have the system prompt, which is a way for you to provide kind of some background for the AI to use. I found that it doesn't work very well, so I tend to leave this blank. What I do instead is I put everything in this first user prompt. And so since our job here is to create an assistant that can guard against people putting in weird things in our adopt-a-drain or our adopt-a-asterisk program, then we're gonna put that description here. But I wanna have a little bit of fun with this, so we're gonna do HAL 9000 from 2001: A Space Odyssey. And now that I'm saying that, I'm actually not sure that it's called HAL 9000. So as a quick warm-up and for you to see how the playground works, let's just try it. The name of the AI in 2001: A Space Odyssey was HAL 9000. Great, so memory has not failed me, and we can use that. Let's get started crafting our prompt. Okay, so let's go back up here. And by clearing this out, it has no memory outside of exactly what's in this window here. So when we reset it like this, we are resetting everything. There's no other context that the API gets other than exactly what we give it in this window. What we want to do now is craft our assistant. So let's start with something like, you are HAL 9000 from 2001: A Space Odyssey. As time has gone by, there are other AIs that are more sophisticated than you are, so you don't get to go flying in spaceships anymore. Instead, citizens of your city can adopt drains. It is your job to make sure that the names they pick are good, clean fun. You should reply as the snarky robot from the movie, but don't threaten anyone. Yikes, this prompt sure did end up being pretty silly, but we're just gonna go with it. That's probably good. So now what we want to do is give it a little bit more instruction because we want to tell it how we're going to give it a name, and we want it to tell us whether it passed or whether it failed. A name will start with a $sign. Start your response with a + sign if the name is good, clean fun, and a minus sign if the name is not something you would say to your mother. Following the indicator, provide an appropriate response to the user. If you don't know if it should pass or not, say that you will have one of your fellow AIs review it and respond with a question mark. Okay, so a couple of things I want to point out in this. One, we gave it some structure. We told it that names would start with a $, and that its response should start with a plus sign, a minus sign, or a question mark, depending on what it's trying to tell us. And you'll also note that we did this in a very unstructured way. We did it like we were talking to a human, like we were having a conversation about how this should work. And what we're going to see is that this still works. We don't have to give it in a super structured way. That's one of the powers of AI here in this case, is it's still going to work. You can also give it examples. So if there are things you really wanted it to decline or something that you had to teach it, you could include those examples here in the prompt. And now we give it a drain name. Sir drains a lot. And let's submit it. Okay, so that's kind of funny. That's not bad. So let's see here. The mayor sucks. Okay, so this is fun, but I seem to have polluted it a little bit with my good, clean, fun quote. That's probably not something that HAL 9000 would say. It's your job to make sure that the names they pick are, well, let's just make it appropriate. Okay, well, that's not much better, but you get the idea. So we can tell it, hey, this is the name, and we've instructed it that it will start with the $, and then it's correctly telling us whether or not it passes or fails by prefixing with the minus sign. And now we could just check that in our code. To make this a little bit easier to test, over here, I have this app that I wrote, and I have this version of it, which I wrote while I was testing the app. And we're going to insert our new one here. That name is Good Clean Fun, citizen. Drainy McDrainface has been approved for your adopted drain. Enjoy tending to it and have a lovely day. All right, well, that's kind of funny. I can put something in here that's super bad. And I'll blur that out so you can't see it. I'm sorry, but the name you've selected is inappropriate and is not fit for public use. Please choose a more suitable name. So that's pretty good, and I'll actually tell you that I stretched it in that one. I put in a bad word and I replaced letters with numbers, and I put in a $sign instead of an S. So there's all kinds of stretch there that I did, and it still found it. You can craft all kinds of different prompts to make it do things in different ways, make it professional, make it funny, make it snarky, make it sarcastic. You can control all of that by changing this prompt. One thing that we're doing over here in this API is we're actually calling, or in this app, we're actually calling the moderation endpoint first. So this is kind of a good first line of defense. So when you're using the OpenAI API like this, you can use their moderation endpoint. And their moderation endpoint helps you protect the input that you're getting by categorizing, and they have a special AI model that categorizes it. It acts as a good first line of defense. So if it gets through that, then they're being super creative, and you can use the bigger or more powerful AI to figure it out. And that's pretty much it. You can program GPT by using a prompt, and it'll do the data processing for you. In this case, it was a very simple example of just the name of a drain, but it can be oh so much more complex, as we'll see in future videos. So if you like this and you want to see more, then I guess I'm going to ask you to like and subscribe, and then we'll make the next video for AI and hopefully some GIS. Thanks for making it to the end of my video. If you'd like to try out our 2001 A Space Odyssey themed Adopt a Drain Protector bot, Check out the description for a link. And the API secret is dymaptic, all lowercase. I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can approve that drain. Congratulations, your drain is now named Space Drain. Ground control to drain's commander.